Batman has Damian, Superman has John, and now Wonder Woman has Trinity. Welcome to the Comicstorian Complete Story Series, where you get audio dramas of your favorite comic books, helping you decide what to go out and add to your collection. If you enjoy the Super Sons, you'll enjoy today's story. Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman, Issue 1 by Tom King. I hope you enjoy. The white light begins to bleed all over the city, destroying buildings in its wake. This world is dying. Another in a long line of universes wiped out. Above it all, Pariah floats, lamenting his curse. 10,000 years of civilization stolen without explanation or alternatives. He yells into the wave of antimatter, watching as some try to flee from their impending destruction. I cannot run from this plague that swallows Earth after Earth. No, I am drawn to it, forced to observe the death rattle of the multiverse. How much must I suffer for my sins before I am spared the witnessing of these horrors? He shouts. The void draws nearer, and Pariah begs for death, but he begins to disappear. Another Earth is swallowed by the dark, and I must attend, as I have the hundreds that have died before it. He shouts before disappearing. Meanwhile, on another Earth, Ultraman and Power Ring try to hold back another antimatter wave, blasting it with energy and heat vision. But the wave can't be stopped, and the world is shattered before it. Far below them, a crowd is running away, but someone isn't really paying attention. A super corgi flies through the air, barking joyously, and behind it comes a young girl dressed as Robin and moving with the speed and agility far beyond her few years.
I see you, super corgi puppy. You're not so far away, and I'm Wonder Robin. I'm going to get you, and I'm going to fix everything!
Lizzie shouts, but the super corgi lets out a bark and leaps into the air, flying away as the city shatters around them.
No, super corgi! Don't do that! I don't know how to fly!
Lizzie shouts, but she stops short as she slams into someone and hits the ground. Lizzie shakes her head and straightens her mask as she looks at the cloaked figure that she ran into.
Excuse me, sir. Did you see where my super corgi puppy went?
Lizzie asks, but Pariah isn't paying attention. Another cursed day, another dead universe. I am again to bear witness to the destruction of the infinite. The agony of my sight, matched by the innocent screams. He laments. He looks down at her before waving her away and turning towards the antimatter wave. I, Pariah, must experience the inevitable destruction time after time, he shouts.
So, Mr. Piranha, you didn't see where my corgi went?
She asks. Pariah turns on her sharply. Pariah, he tells her. He finally kneels down in front of her, explaining that it is his curse that he sees where everything goes, in countless civilizations that are now lost to history. Lizzie stares at him for a moment before cocking an eyebrow.
So, was it this way or that way?
She asks as she motions in either direction. But Pariah grabs his head and begins to pace. What could it possibly matter? All is lost. Even hope refuses to utter its name. Why? 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 He begins to mutter. Lizzie finally sits down and pats the spot next to her.
You seem sad, Mr. Piranha,
she says.
My mommy says that when you're sad, it's good to talk to someone else about when they were sad. It makes them feel less alone. So, we could talk about when I was sad, if you want, and it'll make you feel better,
she explains. But Pariah shakes his head, the antimatter wave drawing ever closer. As your society crumbles, do not waste final words on me, oddly dressed girl. No light shall ever penetrate the darkness of my undying despair, Pariah tells her. But Lizzie isn't listening. She's already started her story.
I was at my Uncle Bruce's mansion, and my babysitters, who are superheroes, were babysitting me,
Lizzie says.
This is like yesterday, but like in the future.
Some years from now, Lizzie sits on the couch while Damien and John continue to argue back and forth over which father would win in a fight. Seriously? My dad is Batman! This argument is over before it ever should have started, Damien explains. But John shakes his head and crosses his arms, once again pointing out that just because he's Batman doesn't mean he automatically wins the fight. But Damien sighs and puts a hand on John's shoulder. Oh, you poor, ignorant, oversized man, Damien whispers. That's exactly what it means. The two continue to argue, and Lizzie gets bored and heads outside. She swings on a swing in the yard. Sadness suddenly overtakes her as she realizes that she can't argue that her dad is stronger because she doesn't know who her father is. Tears begin to fall from her eyes, but suddenly there is a bright light that illuminates her face. Oh, please, stop with the sniveling and the drama already, teenage Lizzie says as she steps through the portal. You are the daughter of Wonder Woman. Try to act like it, teen Lizzie orders. Back on the dying world, Power Ring's foot is suddenly caught in the antimatter wave, and he screams in pain as he is ripped from existence. Pariah watches in horror below him, but Lizzie is all about her story.
So it was me, but in the future, and I was a teenager. And I even had a costume already, and a real superhero name! Wonder Girl! She cheers. I mean, some people call me Wonder Robin, but that's not a real superhero name, she continues.
Why? Pariah whispers as he cradles his head, and Lizzie continues her story. In the past, future, teen Lizzie sits with her younger self and explains that since she remembered feeling very sad at this moment in her life, she would grab hold of a time sphere and pop back into the past and try to cheer herself up.
And you're allowed to do that?
Young Lizzie asks. Teen Lizzie shrugs.
Listen, when you're almost a woman like I am, you understand that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And it's also really better if no one ever finds out. Then you don't even have to ask for forgiveness either, teen Lizzie explains.
Lizzie grabs her hand, her eyes widening in awe at her slightly older self.
You're so cool,
she whispers. Lizzie jumps to her feet, excited that teen Lizzie is here to make everything better and explain who her father is and what happened to him. Teen Lizzie stares at her for a moment. In retrospect, maybe I should have thought this through a little more, she whispers. Lizzie immediately starts crying again and collapses to the ground dramatically.
I knew it! I don't have a daddy! No one can help me!
She bellows. Teen Lizzie taps her chin.
Could this have been a mistake? No, that doesn't sound right, she ponders.
But teen Lizzie suddenly has an idea. She pulls Lizzie off the ground, ignoring the tears and snot leaking from her, and explains that they will merely go to the future and speak with an adult Lizzie, who will definitely know what to do to make everything better. We just need to go to the future and find the Lizzie who knows what she's doing, she says with triumph. Lizzie stops screaming and stares at her.
Oh, and we can do that?
she says. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the fates continue to weave the tapestry of life. But as one continues to weave, she notices something. She turns as someone enters the room. All three fates put up their hands, their eyes widened in fear. "Please don't hurt us. We're just the ones at the loom. It's not our fault," the youngest whispers. Meanwhile, Lizzie and Teen Lizzy have arrived in a further future and stand upon the island of the Amazons. I honestly don't remember being this stupid. Of course, that is something a stupid person would forget. Adult Lizzie sighs as she rubs her head. Teen Lizzy shakes her head, having just finished her explanation of the situation, but she looks at Adult Lizzie's gear. "I got 3 lassos? What does the black one do?" she asks. The two continue to argue, but Lizzie isn't listening. She is staring up at a statue of her mother with a man. Her eyes widened in realization. "That's him!" she whispers. "That's my daddy!" She cheers as she begins to run circles around the statues. But Adult Lizzie realizes that they need to get everyone back to their proper timelines and make sure that everything is the same. Quickly, the trio arrive back in young Lizzie's time. "Well, it looks normal, from what I remember. Seems like you two dumb butts might have gotten lucky," Adult Lizzie points out. But suddenly, there is a bark, and all 3 Lizzies turn in surprise and stare at the Justice League that have now all become corgis. "Oh no," Adult Lizzie whispers. "I didn't do it!" Teen Lizzy shouts. "Puppies!" Young Lizzie screams with joy. She immediately falls to the grass and begins to roll around with the dogs as her 2 older selves decide on how they need to fix this situation. "It's not my fault. I was just trying to make her feel better. It's her fault because she's depressed," Teen Lizzy shouts. In the decaying world, the Super Corgi stares at Ultraman, cocking his head to the side as the supervillain is absorbed by the antimatter wave, before getting distracted by a treat and flying away quickly. "Oh, come on!" Ultraman shouts. In the past future, young Lizzie continues to play while her older selves continue to argue. "You realize all that's stopping me from killing you is that it would also kill me," Adult Lizzie snaps to her teenage self. Young Lizzie watches as the corgis all begin to get into the time sphere. "Look, lady, anytime you want to put down your walker and step into the ring, my fresh fists are ready," Teen Lizzie snaps. The 2 Lizzies raise their fists, but young Lizzie finally interrupts them. The puppies are going into the bubble, and it's glowing," young Lizzie points out. The 2 older Lizzies rush forward, cursing as the time sphere suddenly disappears. Young Lizzie joins in with the cursing until she realizes what she said and falls to her knees. "Please, I didn't mean to swear. Don't tell Mommy," she shouts to herself. Back in the decaying world, Lizzie turns to Pariah, explaining that the Lizzies came up with a plan to split up and head into the time stream, finding the corgis, curing them, and fixing everything they might have changed. "So I went off, and this is my first stop, and now I'm looking for a super corgi puppy. I hope my story made you less sad, Mr. Piranha," she says. "Pariah," Pariah corrects her quietly. But suddenly, the super corgi is sitting next to her. Lizzie cheers and hugs the puppy, and the animal begins to fly into the air. "I do have one secret, though," Lizzie calls out, explaining that she and teenage Lizzie are using this mission to also figure out who their father is and make sure that he never dies. "Shh! It's a secret!" Lizzie shouts as she flies away. But Pariah reaches for her, begging her to take him through the time stream to help break his curse. "Remember,
If you get sad again, just find a corgi, Lizzie calls.
Ignoring his words as the antimatter wave finally begins to reach them. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the Fates have been tied up in front of their loom. Colonel, you have committed an unprecedented malefaction. The gods and their furies will soon come for your flesh and soul. You, sir, need to run, the youngest Fate informs him. But Steve Trevor shakes his head and looks down at the 3 spools of golden thread in his hands, and he smiles at the Fates. Nah, I don't need that. I just need my daughter. And there you have it, the first issue of Trinity, the daughter of Wonder Woman. What did you guys think of today's story? Do you think she's going to be a fun addition to the Super Sons, or do you prefer her as a solo story? Let me know in the comments below. And make sure your notifications are turned on to get notified when new videos are released. I'm Dan with Comicstorian, and we will see you next time. Rest in peace, Benny.